Lefse Norwegian pronunciation, Elfs, is a traditional soft Norwegian flatbread. It is made with riced or instant potatoes, flour, butter, and milk or cream. It is cooked on a large, flat griddle. Special tools are used to prepare lefse, including long wooden turning sticks and special rolling pins with deep grooves. Flavoring. There are many ways of flavoring lefse. The most common is adding butter to the lefse and rolling it up. In Norway, this is known as lefse klenning. Other options include adding cinnamon and/or sugar, or spreading jelly, lingonberries or gum on it. Scandinavian American variations include rolling it with a thin layer of peanut butter and sugar, with butter and white or brown sugar, with butter and corn syrup, or with ham and eggs. Also eaten with beef and other savory items like ribberol and mustard, it is comparable to a tortilla. Lefse is a traditional accompaniment to lutefisk, and the fish is often rolled up in the lefse. Variations. There are significant regional variations in Norway in the way lefse is made and eaten, but it generally resembles a flatbread, although in many parts of Norway, especially Valdres, it is far thinner. Tin lefse is a variation made in central Norway. Tin lefse is rolled up with butter, sugar and cinnamon, or with butter and brown sugar. Juklefse or teiklefse is thicker and often served with coffee as a cake. Potetlefse potato lefse is similar to and used as tin lefse, but made with potatoes. Potetcake or lomp, being the smaller cousin of the potato lefse, is often used in place of a hot dog bun and can be used to roll up sausages. This is also known as pølse med lomp in Norway. Mosbrom lefse is a variation common to Salten district in Nordland in North Norway. Mosbrommen consists of half water and half the cheese smoothed with flour or corn flour to a half-thick sauce that greased the cooled lefse. Lefse is ready when mosbrommen is warm and the butter is melted. Nordlands lefse is a chunky small lefse. Made of butter, syrup, sugar, eggs and flour. Originally created in western Norway as a treat to fishermen who were on the Lofoten fishery. Anis lefse is made on the coast of Hordaland. It resembles thin lefse but is slightly thicker, and it is stained by large amounts of whole aniseed. Hardanger lefse. Another variety, the Hardanger lefse, from Hardanger in Norway, is made from yeast-risen gram flour or a fine ground whole wheat flour krotakake. Additionally, it is often made with egg yolks and buttermilk instead of potatoes. The dough is rolled with a conventional rolling pin and much more flour until it is thin and does not stick to the surface. It is then cut with a grooved rolling pin in perpendicular directions, cutting a grid into the dough which prevents it from creating air pockets as it cooks. The grid cut can also aid in thinner rolling of the lefse, as the ridges help preserve structural integrity. The lefse is cooked at high temperature 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius until browned, and then left to dry. It can also be freeze-dried by repeatedly freezing and thawing. Dried Hardanger lefse can be stored without refrigeration for 6 months or more, so long as it is kept dry. It is customarily thought that the bread, along with solfisk, was a staple on the seagoing voyages as far back as Viking times. The wet lefse is dipped in water, and then placed within a towel which has also been dipped in water and wrung out. Many people maintain that dipping in salted or seawater enhances the flavor. The dry lefse regains its bread-like texture in about 60 minutes. Often that time is used to prepare such ingredients as eggs or herring which are wrapped in the lefse once it has softened. Lefse in the United States. Holidays. Lefse is a Scandinavian treat that is especially popular around the Christmas holidays. Many Scandinavian Americans eat lefse primarily around Thanksgiving and Christmas. History. General. While the Midwest generally always makes its lefse with potatoes, this is not necessarily the case in Norway. When one uses the term lefse in the United States, it more than often refers to what Norwegians call potato lefse. Norwegians, however, also make hardanger lefse with egg yolks and buttermilk. The tradition of making lefse was brought over by Norwegian Americans, and potato lefse itself was made when their potato crop was successful. Due to this, it became more prevalently made than other types in the United States. When lefse was able to be made, it was stored in small storage buildings called bryggehus. When Norwegian immigrants first arrived in America, they did not have the usual foods they were used to back home, including milk and porridge, dried meat, and lefse, but early Norwegian American immigrants brought folded lefse to eat for the beginning stages of their immigration journey via ship. After these were eaten, the lack of food they were used to is likely why they turned back to tradition so quickly. During World War I, Americans were encouraged to eat potatoes to be patriotic, as the front lines needed the wheat grown at home. Lefse, a staple for Norwegian Americans, was eaten with gusto during this time. While lefse is generally not eaten with day-to-day meals in Norway today, Norwegian Americans traditionally give prominence to having lefse with their supper, considering it their specialty. Furthermore, that some Norwegian Americans still make lefse has been considered by some ethnic Norwegians to be unstylish, as it has fallen so out of tradition to hand-make the dish. Keeping the tradition alive. Family members often gather to cook lefse as a group effort because the process is more enjoyable as a traditional holiday activity. This gathering also provides training to younger generations, keeping the tradition alive. As the skills and patience to make lefse have been passed down less into the modern generation, the rounds have gotten thicker and smaller, whereas an ideal lefse is thin and large. The Sons of Norway have lodges to teach making lefse to younger generations. One of these lodges, in Vancouver, Washington, uses up to 60 pounds of potatoes to make lefse every month. While lefse used to be eaten as a snack food, it is now more often made in large quantities for such lutefisk dinners. Some professional lefse makers can roll 85 to 100 lefse per hour, or even up to 140. Where lefse is found. In Norway today, most families tend to purchase their lefse rather than making it. While today's Norwegian Americans consider making lefse at Christmas a tradition, more families are turning to purchase it from the store instead. For example, around $80,000 worth of lefse is generally sold around Christmas from Ingebretsen's Scandinavian Gifts in Minneapolis, Minnesota, yearly. Lefse can also be found in many grocery stores around Midwestern states, including Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Oregon, Alaska and Washington. Norseland Lefse, a factory in Rushford, Minnesota, produces about 500,000 rounds of lefse each year. The foodway of Scandinavian lefse stretches from the Midwest all the way through northeastern Montana. Small lefse factories dot the landscape throughout this area, mostly in Norwegian communities. In the larger of these communities, lefse can be found in grocery stores year-round. In the Red River Valley specifically, restaurants, supermarkets, and clubs all serve fish, lefse, and other specialties. Additionally, many United States Scandinavian festivals have booths to sell lefse, and lefse can also be ordered directly from online. World's largest lefse. The town of Starbuck, Minnesota, is the home of the world's largest lefse. It was made in July 1983. Celebrations and festivals. Lefse is celebrated in cities and towns with large Scandinavian populations. Fargo, North Dakota, hosts the popular Lutefisk and Lefse Festival in August each year. Fosston, Minnesota, invites area lefse makers to compete for the title of Champion Lefse Maker at its Lefse Fest in November. Mankato, Minnesota, natives celebrate Lefse Day, a day for cooking lefse, on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. The Potato Days Festival has been taking place in Barnesville, Minnesota, since the early 1930s. This festival also takes part in the National Lefse Cook-Off. Rumors and jokes. Rumors surrounding the initial use of lefse are claims by Norwegian Americans that it was made by and used to sustain the Vikings, but potatoes were not introduced into Norway until long after the Vikings' time. Although many Scandinavian Americans do enjoy and eat the foods of their ethnic traditions, there is no shortage of tall tales and jokes surrounding certain food, as well. Lefse was not excluded from these rumors. Lefse has been said to be so tasteless that many mistakenly eat the paper doily under the stack and do not know the difference. Integrating Lefse into other foodways. Sometimes Norwegian foods are integrated into other ethnic foodways. For example, one may use lefse in order to make enchiladas, rather than tortillas. Additionally, American lefse is sometimes served with butter, cinnamon sugar, brown sugar, or lingonberry jelly before being rolled, to be eaten in a similar fashion to a crepe. One may also choose eggs, sausage, and cheese to make it into a breakfast burrito. One may also roll smørrebrød into their lefse. See also: flatbrød, svele, potato scone. References. Other sources. Legwold, Gary, 1991, The Last Word on Lefse, Adventure Publication, ISBN 978-0-9348607-8-9. Ojakingas, Beatrice, 1999, The Great Scandinavian Baking Book, Univ of Minnesota Press, ISBN 978-0-8166-3496-5. External links. Lefse Fest, Lakeland News at 10, PBS clip of Lefse Fest. A New Cook in the Kitchen, a Lefse recipe for Thanksgiving by Sam Sifton, November 20, 2014, NY Times.